Hey everyone, Dr. Andrea here. We are live here in 2021. If you're watching this at the time of the recording, we are back with our regular live lessons. We had an extended break. So as you guys come in, say hello. Hey Sharice. Yeah, we both had these intros. Actually, I made that intro in February of last year. I just don't hardly use it for anything. But that's something that I did decide to do last year as part of the 2021 newness, is to start using some of the intros that I had made. So you have an awesome intro as well. So welcome everybody. So those that are here live, welcome. And then those that will be looking at the replay, you can put hashtag replay in the comments. And I'm assuming that everybody can see me. Today, we are talking about business clarity, and I am actually on my public platform. I'm usually doing these live lessons in our Facebook group. So if you are not part of the Facebook group, make sure you join the Facebook group. There's a link in the description, the connect link, where you can click on that and get access to the Facebook group. But if you don't know me, my name is Dr. Andrea, and I was getting ready to say the host, the host of this show, but I am also the founder of the Kingdom Business Leadership Network, which is a network and community really of kingdom entrepreneurs, brand new, emerging, early stage entrepreneurs. And we focus in on building community, also hearing the voice of God, and then as well as hearing the voice of God, walking boldly in our spiritual gifts as it relates to ministry and entrepreneurship, actually, because we know with ministry, there are sometimes you are doing some entrepreneurial things and efforts, raising money and things like that. So we talk about all of that. So welcome. If this is, like I said, the first time seeing me, check out some of our things that we do. You can click on the link. We have a podcast. We have a paid membership group. We have a free Facebook group. We have a bunch of stuff going on. So definitely this is our regular live lessons. If you join the Facebook group, the Kingdom Business Collective, you can see all of the live lessons from last year. And if you join our mastery group, you actually have an assortment of things, master classes, live lessons, prayer, development intensive, all those things. And they're organized very neatly for you in our Facebook group and in our vault. So I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that. So welcome back, everyone. You can leave a comment. I'll know you're there, because with this software, you definitely have to leave a comment for me to know that you're there. But I got some new stuff for 2021. The theme for 2021 amongst my communities is amplification. So I'm going to be doing a whole separate teaching message on that will, I'm trying to get it out this week, and that will talk about what God showed me, believing God for what's going to happen, or what the season that we're in. And a season isn't necessarily a year, but it's the season that we're in. So it's I'll be talking about some different things around preparation and all that. So stay tuned for that. And let's move on in. So this month's theme is business foundations. We did a whole year. We have so much content. Like you can see here, live lesson 37. We did 37 of these last year. I'm going to do a roll up of all the stuff that we did last year, but we did so much. We had so much content. Hopefully you guys that were a part of either the collective or the mastery group, you guys learned a lot. I just went back and I was like, man, we did so much. And we started in February. So we did so much. But I always want to start out the year, and I always want to start with the business foundations. I don't take it for granted that anybody is firm in this. And even if they're not, you need to revisit this yearly. So, but before I get into that, I do want to let you know some of the things that we have going on this month. We're going to have a 3-day goal, setting goals with God challenge at the end of the month, January 27th through 29th. The link to register for that for free is in the description. Please register for that, because there are an assortment of worksheets and things that go with that. But it's going to help you be able to get really strategic in setting your goals and hearing the voice of God and things like that. I know we talked about that all last year, but I put it in a nice, neat toolkit, beginning with this challenge so that you'll be able to do that and have some things that you can actually look at when it comes to setting goals with God. We're going to do a work day at the end of that as well. And also during that time, we'll be opening up the membership, the mastery membership. It will not be the same as it was last year, meaning that I open like once a quarter. Here it's really going to be just a few times, just depending on what we have going on, a few times throughout the year. And it will be different. This is literally will be similar to what we will have going on. Okay, Cherise said she clicked the link, but it gave her an error. I'll have to check and see what I wrote. I hope I wrote the right one, but it's www.thekbln.com/2021 goals. I'm going to put another post up because it gave me an error at first, and then I made a change, and I was hoping that change worked, so it might not have saved. So I'm going to go back, but I'm going to put like a full post about it so you guys can go in there and look. So, and another thing, all these announcements, I usually don't do this many announcements at the beginning, but because we are brand new and we are back, we're still going to be talking about business foundations, and I have quite a bit here. But those that have been on the waiting list to get into the membership, the mastery membership, you guys probably before the end of the week, you guys can be let in. Okay, you guys can be let in as soon as possible, because I said the 7th and the 8th of January, and it did not work out that way. So you guys can be let in as soon as possible. For those that are already in the mastery group of KBLN, I have 9 new courses that I've put together based on last year's content. So it can be organized. I'm calling them introductory courses. And basically what they are, taking themes. The first one is, what is the first one? The first one is on your messaging. But taking themes that we went over last year and putting all of the content that relates to that theme under one module. So it's going to make things so easy for you guys, no matter when you started the mastery group, no matter when. It's going to have live lesson, master classes, everything that we've done, except for the prayers. Everything that we've done will be in there. So it was a cool idea that the Lord gave me, and it will make things so much more organized. So you can jump in there. The first one is about knowing you have a message and how to clarify that message, a little bit about what we're talking about today. So that will be up. And then mastery folks, I'll email you to remind you how to get into your vault so you can see these things. But I'm thinking that's what we're going to end up doing every single year. And you'll end up having like a true vault of different courses. So 9 courses have already been set up, but I'm releasing them. I mean, and in these courses, they'll have all the notes from my teaching notes. All of that will be in there as well. Any other resources will be in there as well. So it's going to be really good and give you a lot of value. Let's see what else. We do have a featured product. That's another new thing. Featured product of this month, Strongholds in the Business Owner Toolkit. So you'll get some information on that. And then of course, the toolkit around the goals with God. So, okay. So that's all my introduction. I usually don't do that many introductions. So let's move on. And Cherise, you made me a little bit nervous, so I'm going to go ahead and try to link myself. I already tried it. Okay, it worked for me. The KBLN.com 2021 goals. So maybe I have an error in the when I did maybe I wrote the wrong link in the thing. But I'm going to write it in here as a comment. So hopefully, that's one thing I've learned. You guys learn to check your links, check all your stuff. I might have put 2020 goals in there, and that's why. But I went ahead and put it in the chat so you guys can have it as well. I know that's the correct link. So at any rate, okay, you said you'll do it again. All right, let's get into it finally. So I'm wearing my KBLN gear. This is actually on my website too, you guys. I haven't ever advertised or anything like that, but Lord is helping me on doing some of this stuff. Okay, so this is like I said, a foundational teaching. It's always where we start, whether you're emerging business owner or whether you've had a business for a long time. This might be new for you or something you need to revisit. And what I have an understanding of, every year, this should get very clearer and clearer to you. Or it can change based on the season that you're in. So that's why we need to reevaluate our business and the clarity that we have in it. Because we have to remember, we're in this for the long haul. Sometimes you're like, man, I got through a year. Oh my gosh, I got through a year of business. I got through 2 years. I got through 3 years. I got through 5 years. What we have to understand, we see individuals and we try to get into this comparison thing where we see individuals and they have these huge followings and all this engagement and all these different things. But what we have to realize is that that has been developed over years. Okay. This is not, for most, in all intents and purposes, generally, that person hasn't started like yesterday with their business, or even a year, or even 2 years, or even 3 years. Most of the people that I follow that have massive followings, they have literally been in business over 5 years. Generally, at times, especially in the Christian industry, if you can call it industry, but market, it's like 10 years. So these people have been doing the work for the longest of times. So we have to realize that this is what we do. That's why this whole month we're talking about these different things. We're talking about here, your clarity. Next week, we're going to be talking about your business model. And then the week after that, we're going to be talking about your rhythm, your flow in business. Because if you want this to be sustainable, you have to have a rhythm and a flow so that it can be sustainable with your actual life. Okay. Not everybody is all in, no 9 to 5 or no part-time, no nothing. Some are doing both, and then some. But even if you are all in, there is still a rhythm and a flow that you should get and have in your business. So I have 4 keys to business clarity. No, 5 keys, 5 keys or 5 points in and around business clarity. The first one is we must be clear on our why. And I said that like a question, like I had more to it, but we must be clear on our why. And I'm actually going to be doing a whole podcast on that will be coming out sometime this week. But we have to be clear on why we're doing what we're doing. Why are you in business? Why are you in ministry? If you have not thought this through, you need to do it immediately. Why? Because this is what's going to ground you. This is what's going to keep you during the hard times. This is what's going to help you when you want to remain consistent, when things aren't working out, when times get hard, when you have everything else going on. Your why you're doing this is going to keep you. It's going to help you. And then we have to think, part of that why is, it could be, what's the reward? What's the reward for you doing this? I'm going to talk more about it. What's the reward of you doing this? Is it you're doing what God told you to do? That could be a type of reward. Money, that can be another type of reward. Freedom, we're going to talk. I'm getting ahead of myself, but we're going to talk about this. That's my number 5, is what do you desire out of your business? So there's a lot of different things, but we have to know, be very clear on why we're doing this. And at times it has to be more than God told me so, right? If God told you so, he told you for a reason. So inquire of the Lord, what are the reasons that you need me to do this business, that you need me to operate this ministry, or both, this business / ministry, right? Because a lot of us, we are innately kingdom. So everything we do has a kingdom flavor to it, right? So people can look at it like it's ministry, although you're selling products and services and things like that, but it has that kingdom foundation. So we have to look and we have to have an understanding. Another point around being clear with your why, is this in line with your calling and passions? What your actual business idea and what you're doing is, or your ministry idea. Like I said, did God tell you to do it? Do you feel like you're called to it? Is it in line with your gifts, your talents, your anointing, what you're passionate about? Even if it's not, because there can be, people can have businesses that they're not necessarily passionate about, but they could be in the business to obtain the reward of the business. And the reward can be monetary, right? Some people are what we call serial entrepreneurs. So they're looking for business ideas that can generate a certain amount of revenue. And they really could care less about what the business is as long as it hits certain points. And I'm of the mindset that I don't think there's really anything wrong with that if your why and your end, it depends on your why and what your end goal is. If your end goal is to be a kingdom financer, you're looking for things that you can tolerate, right? That you can tolerate, that you can invest in, right? I personally believe that you can do that. I think you have to have some type of liking to it. Like it can't repulse you what you're doing to make money. I said so. There's a delicate balance there. But the next thing and getting clear with your why is there a market for it? And this is more talking about getting more clear with your business. Some of you guys are at the point of starting it or haven't started it at all, or you're into it and have done it for some years. Really early stage. I really feel like people in this platform are either don't have a business at all, just have an idea that's something that they want to do. Early stage, which means you're in your first 1 to 3 years, or emerging, which means you can be 3 to 5, possibly 7 years, just depending on how much, because sometimes we have businesses that we've had for 7 to 10 years, but we really weren't focused in on it. So I would say 3 to 5 years, generally a focus, intentionally working the business. But anyway, is there a market for what you're doing? Some people want to start businesses, or even I'll use ministries. They want to start these organizations and things, but nobody is calling them or asking them for this, right? They have no skill in it. Are people asking you, inquiring you of it? Even with this business stuff and teaching, I had people prior to this asking me about this stuff, right? And I wasn't trying to facilitate them asking. They just did. Ashri said that was me. It wasn't focused, right? Yeah, and focus is key because you need to be intentional about what you're doing. But is there a market for what you? This is more speaking to it should be speaking to people that haven't started or early stage. Is there a market for what you're trying to do? If there is not, you might need to reevaluate, and maybe you need to integrate some things in what you're trying to do to what the market is calling for, right? And that has to go with your research. Right. And then are people asking you for it? Meaning, are you skilled in it? Are you doing what your businesses, have you done it in the past for free because people were just asking you for it? And I see that a lot with coaches, that people keep coming to them for certain things, right? So even in the same thing, here's a good example. If you're a coach, okay, there's a difference between counseling and then coaching. So if you're and you can and what's interesting, when you're developing your idea, you can add counseling to it, or if you're a counselor, you can add coaching to this. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that you become a counselor or you become a coach. You can just actually have that integrated in your business, but you hire people in to actually do that part. So you don't necessarily have to feel like, oh, I have to be able to do that. But if you're a coach and you see a lot of your clients are needing actual counseling, actual deliverance, any of these things, inner healing, you might want to bring a partner in or where you work out a deal with somebody, referral basis, that you can work with them and have that as part of your business, but you might not be doing it. So these are the things that we need to be thinking about. It might not be for right now. It might be for later. So, and that will increase your capacity in your business. That will increase your wealth because you're sending somebody away for something that you actually have within your, if we're talking about coaching firm, or your consulting firm, or your counseling firm. So the other part of that, when we're looking at, remember, we're talking about being clear on your why. Looking to see if there's a market for it and what people are asking for, because there might be a market for a better market for something that you actually don't offer, but you can add it in, right? But also when you're looking at this, for my folks that are multifaceted, multi-gifted, multi, and they have so much on their heart and so many things going on, they can actually use this as a decider of what do you do first? What do you focus on? Is there a market for it? If you have all these ideas, one of my mentors talked about this on one of her lives. If you have the idea for like 5 different things, you need to analyze, okay, what's the market asking me for? Do I have the money to actually do this idea? Do I have the education and resources to do this idea? So once you look at those different facets, is the market calling for it? Are people calling me for it? Do I have the money for it? Do I have the resources for it? Well, money/resources for it. Do I have the education to pull it off? And the ones that you don't, those aren't the ones you do first, okay? You do the ones that you have the resources for, the education for, and that the market is calling you for. And then you can move into the other ones. So that really helps a lot of us, when we have different things that we're trying to do and we're trying to work on. Maybe you're doing what you're doing now, but you want to get into real estate investment. Okay, that's great. Do you have the money for it? Right? Do you have the education for it? We know the market is calling for it, but if you don't have those things set up right now, take it upon yourself to start learning. I'm using my same example of, I'll just use investments, real estate, stocks, and things like that. There is a learning curve there. So when you don't have the resources or the money for it, or even the time, I forgot to add that one in, the time. When you don't have those things, you can go ahead, right, and start studying. And that has been the case with me with certain things. I know I don't have the resources for it, nor the time, but I can study it, right? So I can learn. And that's where you have, things I've studied for years because I knew it wasn't the time, although I knew it was for me to do, but I knew the season was not yet. And that's why the Lord, and we're doing the setting goals with God, Lord will tell you things that you're going to do prophetically. This is the prophetic insight. He will prophetically tell you things you're going to do. But a lot of us are like, oh, I'm just they get up from their prayer closet and get up and they're like, I'm gonna do this tomorrow. When the reality is God's like, no, I'm just telling you so that you can be in preparation for when the time is. And I'll let you know when the timing and the season is right for it. So hopefully that's making sense. And that's probably going to help a lot of you guys that are multifaceted. You guys know I just got into Clubhouse in December. And finally I have a club for this, the Kingdom Business Leadership Network. There's an actual club. And then for Prescription for Divine Health, which is my God Still Heals side, there is a club for that. So we have that going on. Oh, so let me see where we're at. So can you do it well? And the last part of deciding what you're going to do, can you do it well? And if you can, do you have some receipts? Do you have some people that testify and say that will give a testimonial that say you can do it well? And that's going to be huge, especially for my service providers, coaches, and things like that. That's going to be huge for y'all, right? Anybody that provides a service, testimonials speak so largely. I think we have, I planned the whole year out, and I think one of the themes has to do with testimonials later in the year. We got to work on that, right? We got to work on that. I'm working on it. Y'all work on it as well. So number 2, we're talking about 5 keys to business clarity. Number 2, and this is one y'all know last year I harped on it. This first, for the mastery group, this first course has to do with knowing this. You must get clear on what you offer and who you serve. You have to get clear on what you offer and who you serve. We've talked about this. We need to know our ideal market, our ideal customer. Some people will say avatar or avatars. In the sales language, they'll say verticals, people, the different people that your audiences that you're speaking to. And at times, if you're developed in business, you have multiple verticals or multiple people that you're speaking to. Let's see. The next one is, like I said, if you're speaking to everyone, y'all know I say this, you're speaking to absolutely no one. You think, oh, everybody can get my book. Everybody needs this. Maybe everybody needs this, but focus in on a certain group. And a lot of times, like last year, we talked about it, your content will help you to see who resonates with your message, right? So if you're in the emerging stage, with a lot of you guys which means you have a business and it's growing, we need to see who is resonating with our message, who is resonating with our content. Okay, I'm already 30 minutes, 25 minutes in. I'm going to be a little bit over my 30-minute time today, y'all. I wrote a lot of notes. This could actually be a full masterclass because I have that many notes, but we're not going to make that. So, but I'm going to just start hurrying up. So if you're in the emerging stage, who is resonating with your message or your content? How do you find that out? Is you're looking at metrics, you're looking at comments, you're looking at your sales, who's purchasing from you, you're looking at your email list, who's engaging from you. Are there similarities? Are there differences? Are they all doctors? Are they all lawyers? Are they all women? Are they all men? Are they all children? What are they? How are they kind of forming together? This is going to help you to know who you're called to, essentially, and who you're resonating with. We have to be very intentional about this, looking at these things. And this is more for emerging. Like I said, some people are going in like, this is who I want my market to be. I've done the research. I know this is the market. That's great. But let it prove itself out, because we're all unique people and God has called us and assigned us to specific people. So we want to let the market actually dictate this as well. So, and once we do this and once we analyze it, you can go on Instagram and look at insights and it will tell you who are people that are resonating. Now, if your following is not that large, it might not tell you a lot, but you can even do an ad on Instagram. One of your better posts, boost it or do the ad on Instagram and see who actually looks at it. And that can help too. So there's different ways you can do things to help as well. But once you do that and figure out who's actually resonating, adjust your goals and strategy based on your findings. A lot of people don't use the analytics. And this isn't even deep analytics. This is like simple analytics that come with, you just got to look at it, press the 3 dots and you'll see it. We got to use these things and look at them. We got to look at them. So, Cherie, save. I always get entries because I've been on there so much. So, you can also use an iPad as well if you have that for Clubhouse. So, moving along, and I'm going to kind of go a little bit quicker. Begin catering your platform to your engaged audience. If it's all women, but you're like, man, I want men to be able to get this too. That's great. That's awesome. You'll probably have some, but if it's mostly women, go with that. Like, even with the KBLN, it's not for women specifically, but 90% of y'all are women, right? And it might be because I'm a woman, right? If I have my husband up here, maybe if he did some of these things, it might change. I might have some guys come in, but sometimes people resonate with people that are very similar to them, right? And then it also is about what atmospheres you're going into. So there's all these things. So sometimes our engaged audience is not who we think. So like I said, and if you're early stage and you still can do this, adjust and cater your product, service, and offerings to your engaged or ideal audiences, whomever that is. For those in this if you're in the Facebook group, go back to the very first and second live lessons I did last year in March. And then if you're in the mastery, there is just that first course that I'm going to release tomorrow morning, later tonight or tomorrow morning. It's Understanding Your Target Audience and Message Intro Course number 1. It'll be available in the vault. And that will help you with all of this, especially those that weren't founding members. You probably guys don't even know what I'm talking about because this was content we did in March and April. So, and some of you guys didn't join till like November, but it's okay. It's okay. I got you. I really do. Okay. Number 3, we're talking about keys to developing your business clarity. Number 3, and this is so important. What is your transformation? What is your transformation? And this is how you change lives, how you do what you do. You need to know it because this will help with your marketing, because we don't market, and our messaging as well. We don't market the things we do. We market the transformation, right? A lot of times people want the transformation. They could care less how you bring it about. Like if it's in a class, in a course, in a book, whatever, they just want it. Okay. So I shouldn't say they can care less, but it's not as important as what we think, the way we think it is. So how convinced are you in your ability to provide the transformation? Are you convinced? Do you believe in yourself that you can do this? If not, it's going to affect you being able to serve your audience. It's a mindset thing. If we just take the fact that, oh, nobody's buying, what else? Nobody's buying. People aren't, looking at my stuff. It's could be because you're just starting out and you're in the obscurity phase. You haven't developed brand awareness, right? Brand awareness takes some time. Brand awareness can take like 5 years for people to know that you're even here. You could still be obscure, right? When we're developing our followings, when we're developing our audiences, it's not that what you offer, your transformation is not good. It's just that people don't know about it. People don't know about you or about it. And that just takes time. Developing that know, like, and trust, it just takes time. And that's just the reality of it. So we can't get discouraged, but we need to keep our mindset like God has anointed me to do this, to provide this transformation, to change people's lives in this way. And if I don't do it, there's going to be some people that are missing out. So we have to have that type of mindset. And then you need to do what you need to do to convince yourself, right? Whether that be providing complimentary services so you can work with a bunch of people that are telling you that you're providing this transformation. That could be getting testimonials, getting receipts, getting further education. And this is going to help. These are the same types of things I told you guys when we talked about imposter syndrome. These are some of the same things, because that's what that is, imposter syndrome coming up, or just fear. Fear is the foundation and basis of imposter syndrome. Telling you that you can't do it, that you can't provide the transformation and all these different things, and do what you need to do to change it in the natural and in the spirit. Sometimes you need to have a conversation with the Lord, like, God, help me out, and he will. So other things you can do is join communities that are specific in that area. So if it's a specific industry that you're in, join communities. Like Sharice, you're on here, you have self-esteem. So you probably need to be joining some communities in and around counseling. A good one is therapy for Black girls. I'm a part of that one. I just like looking at some of the things. Anything that what is her name? The brain lady, Dr. Caroline Leaf. She has different things, reading her books, all those things. And that's the next one, reading books that can help you develop and providing your transformation. And I'm coming from being on the medical side, healthcare side, continuing education. We always had to do that. And I don't know why people think when they get into entrepreneurship and get into these industries that they don't have to do continuing education, right? There's always something new coming out. So we need to always be reading. The book club, we didn't do much with it last year, but I am bringing that back with some force. We're bringing the book club back, and it's going to be in the collective, not so much the mastery group. So everybody will have access to it. So I might change how often we read, although you should be able to read at least one book a month, really 2, right? Especially when we're talking about entrepreneurship and things like that. But it could be your industry book. So I'm looking at to see how often we're going to do it, but I'm working to bring that back, definitely. Oh, yeah, Sharice, you say you needed to hear it gets rough. Yes, it does. And that's just part of it. That's why if in business and entrepreneurship and even ministry, if everybody could do it, if it was easy, everybody would do it. But we know it's not easy. Okay. And the last one, read books, get a coach, get a community. Those in the mastery group, you guys have that community. I'm working on more engaging and more engagement in and around that. So all these things will help you convince yourself that you provide a good transformation. And then lastly, what is your transformation? Market and sell the transformation. Like I said, the model is secondary. If you know that when people get with you, X is going to happen, you're going to market that thing hard, because if they will just hook into, a lot of you guys are authors. If they would just read this book and then take the free class that I have connected to it, that will get you in my coaching program and, your whole path, your value ladder. We're going to have like a whole month on talking about, well, I don't know if it's a whole month. We're going to talk about your value ladder, like all the things that you have, those things are going to help you as you grow. That's why you see people that have been in business 5 and 10 years, they're super confident no impossible. I won't say no imposter syndrome, but they're super confident because they've helped so many people. Just the Bible talks about reason of use. There's a scripture that talks about by reason of use, because you're using your gifts, your talents, you're doing the thing, you're doing the work. Because of that reason of use, you're going to have these rewards from that. So we definitely got to pay attention to that. So what is your transformation? So the other ones, let me review. We're talking about business clarity. Number one, be clear on your why. Number two, get clear on what you offer and who you serve. Number three, what is your transformation? Number four goes with number three. How do you bring the transformation about? And this is actually speaking more to what I was just talking about. What is your success path? What is your framework? If you don't know this, there's going to be a problem. That means you got to go back. You're not clear on your transformation because you don't know how you get people there. And if you don't know how you get people there, how are you going to get them there and sell them anything to get them there? Because you don't even know how you get them there, right? So we need to know what our success path / framework is. How do you get that person there? Is it a course, a systematic course? Is it a coaching program? Is it a book with all these additional resources? How do you get your audience or your ideal client, your person you're ministering to? How do you get them from here to there? Right? What do you have in place? So what are you planning to have in place? We're talking about setting goals. Lord, help me to think through, and this will be part of your goal setting. Help me to think through what's the framework, what's the path, what can I do now to help them? And it has to do with your content, it has to do with your offerings and all these things. How do you systematically lead people to the transformation? And why does it need to be systematically? Because it needs to be reproducible. It needs to be able to scale. You need to be able to not just do it with one person, but do it with 5 people, 10 people, 1,000, 2,000. Because depending on what your goals are, you're not going to be able, if you can't only do it with 5 people, right? You need to be able to scale it, right? We should have processes from the jump that are scalable, right? I can't think of a process that I have or a system that I have currently in anything that I do that's not scalable, right? Meaning that if you test that scale, I have one that I started, I'm going back because I'm like, how did I get here, right? And it's with my books, me not going through like an Amazon or something, me packaging my own books. That's not scalable, right? Because if I get an order of 1,000, that ain't gonna work, right? So, but when you go to Amazon, you make less money, but if you have 1,000, they're able to do that order. So we got to look at sometimes the season that we're in, but have a plan for scaling, even if the season that you're in does not dictate you scaling it up to a certain level. Because for me, talking about my books, if I'm packaging the books myself, how many can I actually do? Can I take an order of 100 or 200 or 500 and be okay? Can I package those and send them out without a problem? So you should know your do a litmus test. So you should know your breaking point. So if you get a large order for something, this is more the product-based people because products can be difficult. If you get a large order for something, what's the max that you can do? The max that you can do, that's how much that's your line of how much money you're going to be able to make, the max that you can do. So always have another systemized way that you can do things, right? Or just be content in knowing this is the maximum that I'm going to be able to do. And at times you might have to extend your window of when you can get things to people and you can do more. So those are things you have to think about if you're product based, right? And all of you guys should have some product based, because I believe beyond services, all services should have some type of product associated with them. So let's see here. Where did I leave off? I'm like completely off of my notes. That's why I'm going so late and long. Okay, so how do you systematically lead people to the transformation? That's going to dictate your business model, which we're going to be talking about next week in our live lesson. So we see sometimes people start with the business model and they start backwards. So they start with the business model and then they go to the transformation. And it's like they try to make that transformation fit into the business model. And sometimes that doesn't work. So sometimes that doesn't work. Okay, Sharice, yeah, you said I extend my window and I have Printify. is it Printfy? Printfy. I know which one you're talking about, just in case. And that's good. So you have a backup. You have a strategy, which is helpful. So some people, they'll get those big orders. She's a product-based business. They'll get these big orders and then they'll be like, I don't know how to do this. So even with you guys with books, even when you package and do your own books, always have an Ingram Spark or always have an Amazon in the wings in case you get these large orders. You can say, just go on Amazon. You might lose some money, but it's okay. Tell them so you won't lose the the sale. Buy your 500 books from Amazon, or you can wait for me to order them and I can give you a discounted rate, but you have to wait a little bit longer. Some people are willing to wait. They'll say, okay, I won't buy the book from Amazon for $15 if I can get a wholesale from you for $10 and I just have to wait 2 or 3 weeks. That's called negotiating and savvy business. Okay, so those are the places that we need to get to. So your transformation, how you provide systematically lead people to the transformation is going to dictate your business model. So next week I'll go through, because most of you guys are online, and I know, especially in the mastery, I know what kind of businesses and things you have. So I'll try to find business models that will work for authors, especially work for certain product-based businesses, which an author is a product-based business, but certain service-based businesses, coaches, and things like that. So I'll talk through a lot of those. This is kind of going into that container, content container that I've talked about in the past. So we'll go through this. Another thing, things that you can do to find out how you will bring your systematic transformation about, how you can discover it. What happens is do whatever you need to do to discover it. People pay for the system, right? They want the transformation, but they pay for the system that you're going to give them to reach the transformation. So at times you might have to do what I call beta groups, meaning if you're trying certain things out, you have a test group. I'm going to be doing some of that this year with a couple of signature courses around being an author, around kingdom entrepreneurship. I'm going to have some beta groups go through the program, right? Go through it and see and give me some testimonials, help me tweak it and things like that. Maybe you need to do to help you to know what works and have your framework and success path. Maybe you need to do some complementary products and services. Like I talked about that. Coaches, maybe you need to have 1 or 2 free complimentary clients so you can figure out how you got them to the actual endpoint, right? This works for authors. If that's all your product and what you have is a book, you can have beta readers. You know, you have to research that. There's a lot of things you can do around that. Focus groups is another one. You can, if you have current clients, paid or unpaid, you can call them and ask them questions about, what they need, success path framework, things that would fall into that, your current audience. So you can do polls and surveys online, or you can email your list a survey. And then lastly, you can look at other similar models, people that are very similar to what you're doing, what they're doing. And I really think you can do all of these. And if you don't know how you bring about the transformation, if you don't have a systematic way, this is going to affect your business rhythm, what I'm calling your business rhythm. We're going to talk about that at the end of the month. And on the podcast, towards the end of the month, you need to have a business rhythm that will make you sustainable, how you do what you do, your systems and all these different things. If you want to have some longevity, because if everything you do, you're so wild and it's so out of order, that does not equal longevity. That equals burnout. Okay. And that's not what we're trying to do around here. If God gave us this business, we want it to mesh with our life and our lifestyle so that we can, still live, still have relationships, still have all this stuff, and all of this. So yeah, Sharice, you say, I want to add some courses to my coaching program. Yep. That would be a good strategy business model for that as well. And we'll talk about it next week. And number 5, we made it to the last one and I'm not that far over. What do you desire out of your business? Remember, we're talking about business clarity. Number 1, we talked about being clear on your why. Number 2, being clear on your offer, on what you offer and who you serve. Number 3, being clear on what your transformation is. Number 4, being clear on how you bring the transformation about. And number 5, What do you desire out of your business? This is all about business clarity. You knowing what you desire out of your business is going to help you. And this goes back to building legacy, sustainability, longevity. If you know you need a business that's going to provide you freedom, there's certain things that you're going to have to do. There's a way that you're going to have to set that business up. It might have a lot of things that passive things, because you want freedom. So you don't want to be tied to your computer. You don't want to be up here doing lives. You want some passive money coming in, right? So that's going to affect how you structure your business, right? That's going to affect your business model, what you desire. But if you don't know what you desire, you're going to look up and you're doing stuff and you're like, man, this is not what I want. This is not freedom. This is actually worse than working my 9 to 5, right? So, and not everybody hates their 9 to 5, obviously, but I'm using that as an example. What do you desire out of your business? Some of you guys want to quit your 9 to 5. Like I said, everybody does not want to quit their 9 to 5. Some people love what they do in their day job. They want a business that's sustainable, that they can do with their day job and do the business. And that is quite all right. There's nothing wrong with that, right? That means you just have to be a very good CEO manager, and you can hire people to run business. Most actual CEOs, not, and sometimes people differentiate CEOs and entrepreneurs by this. I don't necessarily believe that or use that, but most CEOs, they have multiple businesses running with them not there. Why? Because they have teams that are running the business. They'll have a president. They'll have different people running it, so they don't have to be there. Basically, what they do is get a report, right, of what's going on, because they have somebody else running the business. And you could literally be off on the golf course, off on the island or whatever, and have multiple businesses running without you. Or you can be that person that they're working, there may be a doctor, a lawyer, some type of professional that's working your 9 to 5, but you have multiple businesses that are working while you're working because you have great people, a great team around you. So sometimes we have to get out of this solo, I'll call it solo entrepreneur mindset, when we're trying to grow and build. And usually that's not a solo entrepreneur. One of the things, one of my I would say my most prosperous business, I had other ones, but my most prosperous business, we were truly CEOs and we decided to work in the business, but we had other people working for us when we had our healthcare business, because we physically couldn't do the work, because I wasn't a nurse. My husband wasn't a nurse. We hired nurses to do the home health, to do the nurse staffing, right? So there is a reality, and we chose to be in there. I was doing the operations and he was doing the sales. We chose to actually work in the business, but there's other models that the owners did not work in the business. The owners got the reports, right? And let everybody else work in the business. And the owner sat at their house, okay? Right, but we were very lean, so we were trying to save money, so we worked in the business. But this is the mindset shift that needs to happen. Maybe it doesn't look like it to you right now because you looking at, oh, I'm doing all this work, but there's a mindset shift that needs to happen. Even in the reality that you're doing all this work, some of you guys are using contractors. Who cares that the contractor is from Fiverr? You're outsourcing, okay? So you have a graphic artist that is working on your team. All my books, I use the same graphic artists for all of them because I like what they do and they're quick. It just works with me. So that person is on my team, okay? Right? So anybody I use, all these videos and things, these intros, these outros, you know, my podcast intros and outros, those people are contractors that I have hired to be part of my team because I didn't do it. I don't have time to do it. I don't even have the knowledge to do it, right? So you're doing this already, operating like a CEO, and don't even realize it, just because it's on a smaller scale and you might not have like a full time, but you're using these contractors. And the reality is, if you use a regular contractor, you would serve them with a 1099 and work that out. So you move from the 1099 to possibly, full time. So we just got to get out of this mindset that, one, we can't afford help. And two, what does help look like for us? Maybe we need some admin. Maybe you can pay a VA, I don't know, a few hours a week, right? We got to get out of this mindset that I just can't do that, because the reality is, I'm going to talk about this in my Amplify message. for you to amplify and for amplification that happen in your business, you're not going to be able to do it all by yourself. So you might as well put the systems in place. You might as well set things up, design your standard operating procedures. So when somebody can help you, or when you have the resources to have somebody to help you, you already set up, right? This is very helpful for early stage. You're already set up. You already have how this is done, how this workflow happens, because there's certain things you're doing in your business you don't want to do. You're doing it for a very short temporary time, but the minute that you can get somebody to do that thing, you're going to get somebody. So you might as well set up how you're going to do it. And this is a mindset shift. So when the time comes and you're able to bring somebody in, it's easy. You already have this and that. You already have whatever, so set up your onboarding. How are you going to onboard somebody to your business? And your first hire, quote unquote, hire could be an intern. It could be your family, but you want to treat them like a regular employee, even if you're paying them a stipend, or even if you're 1099ing, doing a 1099, whatever you're doing, you want to start off right. Okay. And I know this because I came from a business that was in a franchise model. And so, and the systems and things, and I thank God for that. Not every part of it, but I thank God for the things I learned about systems and SOPs and all this structure stuff that I didn't know I was going to need and be teaching you all. So anyway, let me get back in here because we are over our time. So what do you desire out of your business? Provide transformation to others, some other financial goal, legacy for your family line. Maybe, like I said before, you want to be a kingdom financer or philanthropist. Maybe it's all of the above. This will dictate your business or businesses and their structure and their model. So I'm going to talk more about this next week, right? Because some of you guys have financial goals that one book is not going to meet it. That one product is not going to meet it. You're going to have to do other things to bring this financial goal in. And you're going to need the Lord to help you and to tell you what you need to do, because you're seeing these things, because certain things, the market does not dictate that much money can be made from that. Some of you guys need to do some research. You're like, I got this one book and I'm going to be a millionaire off this one book. Okay, then you're going to be a New York Times bestseller. And then you might not even still be a millionaire, right? So you better work towards that, right? If that is your strategy for this wealth goal that God has given you. So, but for 99% of y'all, that's not going to be the case, right? So we need to pray and think this through. Like I said, at the end of the month, we are doing our goals with God, and this is part of it. I've been prepping you guys probably for the last 2 months in and around this. There's going to be a toolkit available for those past the challenge with additional resources, things you can write out. Working on a workbook for that, just so you will have it, so you can always go back to this. Moving on, what you desire out of your business. You might need some coaches. You might need to do something that is, maybe you are an author, but you want a certain amount of money. You might have to look at doing another type of business in addition that more people actually need, that the market is greater for. Maybe you need to have a cleaning business, an event business. Others, maybe to buy another business, buy somebody else's business, be a partner in another business. It's all these things. We need to just expand our mind and let the Lord help us, and not just looking at, I have to do it. There's so many avenues of business. So many avenues, right? We can't get stuck in these certain things, right? But we have to go beyond just our thinking and just our small mindset, because maybe we never seen it done in our family or in our household. It doesn't matter. We can be the first. We can be the Moses, right? Maybe you need some software. Maybe you need to develop an app. Maybe you need to develop some software that's going to cause certain amount of money to come into drop shipping. There's so many different things and avenues and ways. And that's how the Lord will help you. And you getting in rooms, you reading books, you having understanding of all the different ways that people have business and have money. So it's just expanding your thought life, expanding your mind, really, through broadening it and just being sharpening yourself in your industry or just in business in general. Okay. So that's all. But like I said, I'll end with this. This will dictate your business model and the businesses you engage in. So I did talk about that. So like I said, that's all I have for you. this could have been like a whole entire class, and I might turn it into that eventually. You know what I love doing is turning these lives into whole entire workbooks. So this is probably going to eventually end up in a workbook some kind of way around business clarity. Because y'all know my area is writing. So most things that I see resonate, I'm going to put it in a book and then develop a class and then develop a course and then go from there. That's one of my models. So, like I said, for those, those that are watching the replay, put replay in the comments so I know that you have looked at this. Give me some encouragement as well. Like I said, next week, we're talking about business models and structure. So we're going to continue this discussion in this. The theme for this month is business foundations. You guys should be getting some emails in the next few days in and around some of the things you're going to be hearing from. That's one of my goals, emailing people more, emailing you guys more, providing more value via email. Not long emails, because I'm not the one to write a super long email, but giving you value in that. I was not the best at that last year, but that is one of the goals for this year. So I'm going to put together some things to cause that to happen. The link for the free 3-day setting goals with God challenge is there. It's January 27th through the 29th, and the membership will be open during those few days. And the waitlist people, you'll get an email. You guys can jump in as soon as I send that email. Mastery students, we have 9 courses loading. Hopefully all 9 will be up by the end of the month. The first one on your business messaging and things will be up by tomorrow, and you'll have that. I'll be posting some things on all these events and things coming up, so you'll see that. I've been quiet on social media because we on break. So I'm going to try to be not so quiet coming up soon. We have some featured products this month, the Strongholds of Business Owner Toolkit, and also the cool toolkit for the goal setting and things like that. So you'll see some more promotions and things around that. So thank you guys so much for listening and for rocking with me. We went like a whole hour when we don't usually do that. So this was really like a masterclass, not just a live lesson, because the live lessons are about 30 minutes. So this could actually have been two live lessons, but we got it done. But this is the first one of the year, so it's okay. That's a little bit longer, but love you guys. And I have an intro and I have an outro. Let me see if this can work. So thank you guys, and I will see you next week. Know that the links are all in the description or in or around this video, depending on where you're watching it. Love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.